Welcome to Hair Hero, the podcast where we dive deep into the minds of the best in the business to uncover what makes them tick and sometimes what makes them twitch. I'm your host, Ryan Whedon, founder of Masters of Balayage and creator of Masters Academy. Join me each week for impactful conversations with industry leaders, icons, influencers, and trendsetters. Get ready to be inspired, learn from the pros, and maybe even have a laugh or two. Because let's face it, if we can't have fun talking about hair, we're doing it wrong. Let's get started. I have here Travis Parker. He's one of your mentors. And today we get to pick his brain. We're going to do our best. He and I have gotten to know each other really well over the last, I don't know how many, few years now.
Yeah.
You've been cutting my hair. I walked in one day. I said, hey, I'm Ryan. I have this company called Masters of Balayage. He's like, never heard of it. I was kidding.
I was like, you're
so
the
you
dude.
think you're somebody name dropping already walking into my space.
Yeah.
But anyway, we knew each other mutually on Instagram, and it snuck me in, and he'd been cutting my hair, and I got a fresh one this morning. Right?
You guys.
Brad Pitt-esque.
But
But it was funny. I showed him a picture of Brad Pitt because I'm like, I want to get my hair cut like this, and like clients that you bring in a picture, you show it to them, and it's our job as professionals to decipher what that was all about. I showed him this picture thinking I wanted this haircut. And he's like, all right, I'm looking at this, so it's longer in the back. You want it longer in the back? I'm like, no. It's longer on the sides, kind of like what you have now. He's like, is that what you want? I'm like, no. He's like, it's shorter on the top. Shorter on the top.
So the
face. He's like, your top's about there right now. I'm like, I think I just want his jawline.
So true.
And I'm like, just forget the picture. Do something else. That's cool. But even us as professionals, we see something in our own way. That's why it's important to get on the same page in a consultation. So it was just, I couldn't believe it. I was like totally
so
busted. I'm the one
funny.
that's teaching people how to give consultations, but we don't see our own blind spots. And I think that's what's cool about this. So today we're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff. We're going to try not to say anything too outrageous. He and I have some really interesting, colorful discussions about things, and we're going to keep this as PC as possible. But the goal is here to give you some awesome insight on what it takes to really have a fulfilling career, reach outside of the box, step outside your comfort zone, and keep evolving. Like Travis here, Travis Parker Academy, there's so much I'd like to talk to you about that we chat about all the time. But how long have you been doing hair? And has cutting always been like your specialty?
I've been cutting hair I've been a hairdresser for 36 years now, and color has always been part of my regimen, but cutting was when it came to education, basically I was asked to be a cutter. And so cutting became what people started to seek out from me. But I love color too. I mean, I use a lot of your guys' techniques.
That's awesome.
Behind the chair. Yeah, I love it. But yeah, 36 years behind the chair. And then 20 plus years of teaching cutting.
Well, you and I, we nerd out all the time, and we recently, the last couple of years, nerded out because we had our online presence and our courses, and you were in the process of releasing the newest version of Travis Parker Academy, right? With the cutting certifications and everything. And the difference is you created your entire infrastructure, and I know it was a lot, right? So is that a process? Can you talk about what it took for you to create your own online education, and would you do it again that way?
It's a great question. Yeah, it's been a process. It's still a process. I was talking to John, the guy behind the camera right now, about how I'm learning every single day with filming. And I think I started off with what I knew. And from there, it was one step at a time. And what I did know was teaching and conveying a message and understanding the terminology so I could explain things with a sense of literacy in it and connect with my audience. And then it was a matter of like, okay, like, do I need a light? And then I'm like, okay, well, grandma's light's not bright enough. So I probably need to hop on YouTube to see like, what lights do I buy to light me up?
Is that how you still type?
Yes. It is. Yeah. Every once I'll throw an elbow in there too. Yeah.
Look around every now and then. See if you could hit the right key.
But I mean, it is, it is one step at a time. And if I think about, a stadium of steps and I tried to run from the bottom to the top, I'd be totally out of breath. So taking it in parts is probably, and in bite-sized pieces is probably the way that I would say that I've approached it. And it was literally learning as I went. Even down to like the soft boxes that we were talking about lights, like I didn't know they came in different sizes. So I ordered the wrong size and, then I ordered the correct size. But I think in all of it, as you would be a testament as well, is that those experiences become your opportunities. And as you put the effort to go forward with anything that's unknown, becomes the epiphany and the dawnings and the oh my gosh, I didn't realize that I could do this. And I didn't realize that I was capable. And if you don't put forth that risk, you don't really see the reward and you never know what your capabilities are or what your true fate is. And here I am in a place where I'm living my destiny with cutting this many years into it every single day. And there's still so much unknown. I mean, it's still such a process back.
Do you still have passion for it, or is your inspiration kind of shifted into the online training? Like how much of it was like, this is where the industry is going, I need to stay ahead of the game, versus I really want to do this, I'm super passionate about it?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I'm passionate about hair, first of all, and that being the overarching reality of the business that I'm in. Like I love to do people's hair. And so whether it's teaching it or it's training people on it, or it's actually facilitating the service behind the chair, like I love that's my thing. Like that's my artistry. And in that, I have so much passion behind it. But the passion of what my focus has shifted throughout my career in regards to what I was interested in that time. But so right now, like I'm learning so much about filming and I'm learning so much about building my certification process into an e-course. And I'm so passionate about it. Like I get silly and giddy. Like there's moments where I'm behind the camera and no one else is in the room. And I feel this like energy inside of me that's exploding because I get so hyped out. Like, I'm like, I can't believe this is my job. Like, I can't believe I'm doing this. And I can't believe that I get to live this sort of ignited way so many years into my profession, 36 years. Like it's a long time to keep the light lit and to keep passion behind what it is that you're doing. Yeah. So shifting it, reporting to it, understanding that you have to be malleable, learning through your mistakes, I should say. Yeah. I love it, dude. It's, I feel it right now. Like hanging out and talking with you and you guys, it's rad. Like,
this is part of
a blessed individual.
This is part of the industry, that it's a different side of it, but it's a way that we can now reach more people and still continue to evolve past being behind the chair, which I think is great because although I enjoyed being behind the chair, my body, my neck, I had shoulder problems, I had carpal tunnel. Like I started to develop all these terrible things and I just couldn't see myself doing that for years on end. I'd be like, I don't know. I just wasn't in the best shape mentally for that, and physically it was just taking its toll, and I was burned out, and I needed a change, and I always wanted to be on doing something with the camera, doing something on a stage. And I always talk about build your own stage. If the opportunity is not there, or if somebody's not giving you an opportunity that you feel like you deserve or that you want, you see somebody on stage, you're like, I want to be there. You talk to that company. If they're not going to put you on that stage, you know what you do? You take the steps and you figure out, how can I create my own stage? And the cool thing about technology now is we all have our own stage right now. And it is this right now. You go to that Instagram thing, you press go live, boom, we instantly have our own stage. So if people are saying, well, nobody's giving me an opportunity, it is right here. There might not be anybody watching at first, but believe me, you don't want anybody watching at first because you're not going to be good. If you're just trying to get up in front of people, you're going to deer in headlights and talking to a camera when there's nobody actually giving you any kind of feedback. I mean, thankfully we're rapid back and forth here, but it's like breaking that third wall and coming across like you would naturally, it takes years of practice. And I just started getting comfortable
anything
about
that you're going to become excellent at, right? Takes years of practice. I mean, anything. It doesn't matter what it is. It takes that rinse and repeat, that rehearsal, and that sacrifice.
But you got to
of time
start, or else you're never going to get there, and then it's too late by the time
100%.
that opportunity comes.
Yes,
I think that was one of
you have to take the risk for opportunities to present themselves.
And during tough times, the last biggest one was COVID. That was our whole lives were upended, and a lot of us were stuck at home. We're out of a job. We're closing salons. We had a lot of time to be with ourselves and reflect. And although in any tough time, there's opportunity. So during that time, a lot of people were like, oh, I'm going to start to go live. I'm going to start to create education. But they're just getting started down. And you think COVID was the last of what's going to happen ahead of. There's always going to be something coming up. And it's just life. It's cyclical in that way. It might be a new pandemic or new world, some kind of a terrible situation that's going to affect our lives. And for those of us that aren't ready, you can't pivot then. It's like you have to pivot before and be ready for that opportunity. We had a great year that year because more people were home. We were able to connect with them. People were looking for community. We had a community already. And we were able to get our courses in front of people a lot easier because we weren't trying to figure it out. That was the years before, struggling to figure it out. So I feel like that's a message for everybody that's thinking about, well, I want to try this, but I want to wait until I'm ready. You're never going to be ready. You're never going to be ready.
Yeah.
I was supposed to come here this morning with Travis and have a whole bunch of questions ready. And I wasn't, but I wasn't going to reschedule.
Yeah.
So it was like, here it is. You show up, you give it your best, you learn along the way. And then the next time you do it, you're going to feel a little less scared.
100%. I mean, you just got to start, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's as if I wanted to say I want to be a professional soccer player tomorrow. Well, I kind of probably need to start at some point with maybe training and playing on lower levels so that I can find my feet and find my practice, find my rehearsal, figure out where I belong, understand what position I should play in, or at least start with, and then work my way up. The sport is always going to be evolving.
Mm-hmm.
You know, our trade will always evolve, and how we capture content or evolve as educators will always be developing. It's always going to be changing. But if you don't just start and don't take that risk, you're never going to get to the place that you want to be. It's a process, and depending upon how fast you want to run, you know, we'll evolve that process, getting you to the place that you ultimately, I think, want to be at. And then you just never give up. Right. I mean, that's a massive part of it. And that's where you guys are at, and all of our friends. You know, our friends are where they're at, or the people that you might subscribe to or look up to are at where they're at because they haven't given up. And the journey is their story, and the ebb and the flow and the mishap and the struggle is real. And it takes that to get to the level of experience where you could advise others or instruct others or get in front of a camera and speak to it, you know, in an eloquent way that engages people. And it's a journey. It's a process. Well, but it takes practice.
When I was sitting in your chair earlier this morning.
I mean, Brad Pitt, when he was in
when Brad Pitt was in the previous with the long hair, and then I'm like, no, I want to go, you know, the Ryan style. Which normally I walk in and I get in this chair. He's like, what do you want today? I'm like, half.
Half
just
Ryan,
whatever.
half Brad.
No, just like whatever I have in my hair, just half of that. Just half it.
Shrink it. Just to pull that one string out of the back of your neck.
But we were talking about how there's that quote that floats around, and it's like, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And I'm like,
oh yeah,
no. If you love what you do, you work every day of your life. The benefits are a lot better most of the time, but there are it's just you can't clock out at the end of the day and go home. If it's your business, if you're doing something you love, it consumes you, especially if you want it to carry you to that next level that you're seeking. You need to be a little bit obsessive about it. You need to always be thinking about, okay, what am I doing? How am I doing? How can this be better? And apply that all the time into all of your thinking. So that I don't really like that because it just doesn't make sense to me. It's like,
I don't know if it's realistic.
It's not realistic. You can't just enjoy every single moment all the time. You can you can balayage, balayage. You know, it doesn't matter how you pronounce it. Your clients just want to know that you're good at it because they're paying a lot of money for your service. Sure, you can take a class here and there, search on YouTube, learn a hack here and there on Instagram, but it's never going to be enough because to excel at balayage, you need structured learning with experts that have been where you are and can show you how to reach your goals. Hi, I'm Ryan Whedon, founder of Masters of Balayage and one of the first balayage experts to bring modern balayage to millions. And right now, Masters Academy, the #1 online trainer for balayage artists, is now offering lifetime memberships. That's right, no more monthly payments, no more overdrafts, just a one-time payment and you can get over 100 hours of balayage and blonding tutorials on demand to watch and rewatch on your time. Our new Masters Academy lifetime membership also includes our 3 world-famous certification programs, the Balayage Masters program, the Blonde Masters program, and the Extensions Masters program. Not only do you get to own all 3 of these now, you also get Master Certified. So if you're stuck, lacking that balayage confidence, or just need an awesome excuse to raise your prices, Masters Academy is the answer. And right now, you can save $100 off any lifetime membership. Just go to www.mobmastersacademy.com and use code MYLIFE at checkout to redeem your $100 off promotion. I'm gonna say it again, so go grab a pen and write this down. Go to www.mobmastersacademy.com and use code MYLIFE and redeem your promotion now. Try.
Yeah, well,
Not every day's easy.
No, for sure. I mean, and that's, like you're saying, that's why, if your ultimate goal is that you want to be X, finding passion behind what your dream is essential because as Ryan's saying, there's so many facets that go into success or go into a business. If we think about any business, there's a million different departments in it to make one business successful. Well, when you're in your own business, you're all those departments, all those jobs, and all those hats. And some of those things just aren't your jam. Like you're just not stoked on doing your bookkeeping, this guy. Yeah. You're not stoked on doing your taxes, this guy. I have bookkeeping and taxes that I have to be accountable to, so I'm responsible to it, but I don't love it. But I love hair so much that comes with it are these things that enable me to find predictability, projections, ROI, and all the different things that allow me to be successful. But it doesn't matter what you pick, there's always going to be things that aren't glamorous. So loving what you do is such a clutch thing to have in what you do every day. I mean, because it's always going to feel like there's always going to be a moment that feels like work. And then there's moments like this where you're just hanging out with your buddy.
The best time.
Yeah, we're just having fun. You know what I mean? And it's this is the best part. I love it.
I think when I'm feeling the worst is when I'm stuck in like taxes or I'm stuck bookkeeping or doing things. We have bookkeepers and everything too, but that doesn't mean we can just hand it off to them. We have to make sure that it's being done properly. We have to make sure things are being recorded and we have to find paperwork and pass it along. And I hate that stuff just like you do. And I find when I go too many days in a row or too many hours in a row of doing that without doing the part of the business that I'm passionate about, which is the filming, which is the course creation, which is the creative side, if I focus too much on the things I hate the most, and sometimes you just get inundated with too many of those little monotonous, I hate this task. That's when I feel like I'm starting to get burned out.
Yeah.
But if I'm doing stuff like this, having a good time, creating, educating, helping, inspiring, getting haircuts, then it just, I feel like I'm on top of the world.
Yeah. But I encourage everyone that's listening right now, that's hearing our voices, to be patient. And when you're starting anything, you're probably wearing all the hats. Understand that some things you're going to love more than other things, but stick with it, stay with it, and pursue your dream. If you're pursuing something you love, it's much easier to get through it. At the same time, I have people all the time that are like, well, Trav, why don't you just delegate this or delegate that? And I'm like, well, if I had an extra 10K or 5K or 100K, I would delegate that. And I'd be a regular functioning business that is working at a high level. But based upon where I'm at, and again, one step at a time, I do have to do a lot of things that I don't necessarily love. And it does feel like work some days. And then again, there's other days where I'm on top of the world and I'm like, this is like the best. I'm so glad I've stuck with it. I'm so glad I'm at where I'm at. And 36 years in, I'm so blessed that I can say all of this and honestly mean it. Yeah. I'm so glad I have clients like Brad Pitt. I mean, for the love of God, how long am I?
That's another piece of advice that I got, and it's been just incredible, it's profound, was people delegate. You know, they some coaches will say, if you don't like to do something, delegate it to somebody else. And yes, I understand that, but not until you understand what you're delegating.
I love that.
And at first, when you're starting out and you're your own CEO, let's just say you're starting something new, whether you're in a salon suite, you're a salon owner, whether you're starting a new business, whether you're a commissioned stylist and you're creating your business, you need to know every aspect of your business really well. Even the stuff that you hate the most, you need to know how to operate it. You need to know how to do it yourself until you pass it along. Because what happens is if you pass it along too soon without understanding it, you don't understand if it's being done well. You don't understand what you're paying somebody for.
Is this spoke from experience? Because I have tons of experience in this.
Yeah, I had going back to Facebook ads when I didn't know much about Facebook ads. I had delegated that because it's a beast. There's a lot to learn, and a lot of money can be spent on your behalf very quickly.
Yeah.
And if you're not really sure if the returns are working or if they're being presented to you in the right way, like you don't know how to check and see it. Let's just say probably $500,000 to $1 million was lost. Is Jenny listening?
No, she's not.
No, she is. Long time ago. No.
But I can say this in relation to our world.
Love you.
Before I had an assistant, my very first assistant, which I had assistants supporting me for 24 years. Before I had assistants, I had a good, let's see, where's it been? I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years behind the chair without anybody assisting me. It helped me to understand color to a high level before I started training somebody to do my toners, before I started training them to mix the batch of color. Understanding that from my own experience taught me what to teach them, allowed me to feel more confident that I knew that they knew what they were doing. But then there's been a million moments where just other things poured into my world as an entrepreneur, and a lot of us are, where I, again, I just started to wing it. And I totally blew it. And that, again, gave me the opportunity to delegate. I meant to say that the flip-flop of that was that there were times where I delegated things that I had never tried before. And like you, I lost my A in it, where I totally got in over my head and people cheated me. And I've been in a couple lawsuits and moments like that, where, hindsight, it just helps to have that experience first. My apologies for reversing that initially. Dude, I guess the whole thing in summary for me is that first of all, you have to become comfortable being uncomfortable. It's okay to fail. And if failure is a bad word and you don't want to acknowledge that, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay for it not to be perfect. If that becomes your lesson in life that allows you to grow from it, and whether that's to delegate something later on or just to mature your process to a higher level, it's a relationship that we have to have. I had a conversation with my son last night about his relationship with the process. He has these dreams with playing soccer, or these dreams right now with, not dreams, but he's passionate about a video game. And I'm like, buddy, you have to start to romance with the process, because once you reach your dream, that's a moment in your life. It may take you 10 years, 20 years, 30 years to reach your dream. So you've got to romance with the process and understand that, through the mishaps or the hardships or whatever, that's just part of your journey, but you love it so much that there is harmony in it, even when it's hardship. Even when it's you sort of fell down and you're bleeding from the knees, you know what I mean? That's your moment to grow and develop, but you keep charging forward and you keep figuring it out.
Right.
It's just all part of your journey.
Right. And then you get back up because you never give up. And that's what the most successful all say. You could throw in the towel. And sometimes I believe, it might be worth throwing in the towel if you're not passionate about something. Like there are things to quit. But if you're passionate about it and that you can envision it as something that you want to do with the rest of your life, then you never give up. You find a way to make it happen, and you move forward toward it relentlessly.
Well, look how many chapters you've gone through to get to this place where you're at right now with your business. Like, you started off as a hairdresser. Maybe, I think we even talked about it earlier, you started off with other jobs before you even
I've had
became
lots
a
of
hairdresser.
jobs, yeah.
And everything leads you to that next point.
Right.
But how do you move forward in moments is I think where a lot of our challenge comes. And I think for a lot of us, we're just like, I'm done with it. I'm done with it. I mean, I'm 36 years in and I'm like, yo, I just got started.
Right.
I just got started. But it hasn't been the same story every chapter. There's chapters in my books. There's novels behind me at this point.
Well, you know what I was thinking? I had this dream last night, and I was kind of like one of those like half dreams, half not dreams. And I don't know how this is going to play out here, me talking about it. But how our lives, how each year we start new, but it's still the same us. And I was thinking about how could I relate this to some people that end up getting ahead and other people that just kind of stay on the same path. And I was thinking about the cyclical nature of kind of life and of who we are. And I was comparing it to Monopoly, where I know I haven't played Monopoly in a long time, but most people know what that game is all about, right?
You go around, lifetime to play.
You go around the board, and things happen. You get a chance, you land on certain properties, good things happen, bad things happen. And along the way, you're traveling roughly the same pace as everybody else, right? When you first start.
Yeah.
Some people decide to buy something. I landed here. I'm going to buy this railroad. I'm going to buy this thing. It's kind of like, I'm going to invest in this, or maybe I'm going to invest in this education. I'm going to take a step here, a bold action to try something new. And you keep moving around. And then the people that haven't bought anything, they just keep going around and around. Nothing ever changes. The other people that are buying something, now people are able to, they start to lose track because they're landing on their properties and they're having to pay them. Yeah. And then that person that keeps going, buying more things, keeps advancing. They keep adding to their properties, adding to their assets, adding to their knowledge. So they keep growing exponentially. They're the same person round and round and round each year, but they're leveling up.
They're always evolving.
And the other people are actually falling behind because now they're landing on boardwalk place that's got hotels on it. And like, you're like, I don't have money for that.
Yeah.
But you would have if you had started earlier, if you had started investing. People might look into Instagram right now and think like, well, I'm so far behind the line now, or there's no way I'm ever going to catch up. You don't have to think it that way because just get started. Yeah. Just start putting your focus, your energy into taking action, bold action, little step here, little step there. And then next year, you'll start to add on top of that. And you're going to start to build this castle. And you're going to look back in 5 years and be like, I am the same person, but I'm up here now.
But
I have a different
person.
I'm levitating now.
No, it's true. It's 100% true. And I think that the important thing in it for all of us is to take that investment in yourself. And whether that's just in you personally with your man hours and you monetize that, or if it's money in, if you're not willing to give up, how can you lose? And the more rotations you have around this metaphorical analogy right now is the more rotations you have around the board, the more experience you have, and wisdom comes from experience. And every time you go around, it becomes that reset, as you're saying, but yet you're at a higher level. And it takes that volunteering, the voluntary, nature to continue to take the risk, believe in yourself. And if you're never going to give up, then that's your fate and destiny to achieve what you had set out to achieve when it happens. And I think that that's something that I've experienced, for my own self and from others as well. Like, I wanted it to happen before it was supposed to happen. And in those moments when I was like, I should have been rich already, you know what I mean? Like, then I get mad and then I want to throw in the towel. And then I'm like, nah, Trav, like, you got this. It wasn't your time. And I used to tell myself when I was younger, probably in my 30s, because that's when I was starting to take the higher level risks with my salons and stuff like that, was that you will not be wealthy until you're mature enough to handle that wealth. And this was something that I used to repeat in my head because I was like, I'm supposed to be a multimillionaire. I'm supposed to have this house and I'm supposed to have that car. And I'm like, yo, dummy, like you're not supposed to have that because you're not mature enough to handle that end result.
Mhm.
And until then, this is your journey. This is your interim. Like I was saying about my son Hudson last night, this is your process. What do you do as you're moving around the board, to your analogy again? What do you do as you're moving around the board to continually evolve? How is that leading you to greater decisions tomorrow? And the answer is not supposed to happen yet. The sum of your efforts is not due. It's not supposed to happen. And for me, I don't know if I'm ever supposed to be crazy wealthy. Maybe my whole life is about continuing to evolve. So like you, I can help others along their journey. And I have that from personal experience where I can share those stories.
I think that's one of the reasons that we're here, and also part of what we do at Masters Academy is to help cut through the noise that you see on Instagram, on social media, where you're going to hear a lot of opinions, a lot of people spouting, well, this is what it takes to become successful, when in reality, it's you take a little bit from here, a little bit from here, a little bit from here. And it's our job to give you options, to show you a bunch of different conversations, insights, courses, things where you can learn from a lot of mentors, icons, leaders, and then you can take that and make it your own. I think that's what it's all about.
Well, and how we measure success is a very personal, individual thing.
Cars.
Yeah. Oh my God. Inside joke.
Inside joke.
A lot of us measure success with the cars, you know what I mean? A lot of us measure success with money. I measure success in my happiness. And I was stoked today. I woke up on cloud 9 because I got to start with Ryan's haircut, come do a haircut, and then talk with you guys, in this conversation. Like that to me made me feel blessed. Every night before I go to sleep, I go through all the things that I'm grateful for. And it could be that I've got 10 fingers, it could be that I'm blessed that I was given a career that I'm still passionate about over 3 decades later. I'm blessed because I get to work with Ryan. I'm blessed because I'm breathing today and I've got food in my refrigerator. I'm blessed because I'm a human being and not a rhinoceros. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? And those blessed things are the things that in a sense of summarizing, allow me to feel success. So without a sense of comparison to other people in a very sort of, crazy world where there's a lot of contribution to what success means, I think we all need to sort of just stand back and be like, well, what's success for me? Ultimately, is success for me, Travis, is it a bunch of money and a big house? Or is it happiness based upon the derivative of all the things I just mentioned? You know what I mean? I'm happy and successful because I get to do things like this. You know what I mean? I'm happy because all of my efforts have led to moments like this. You know what I mean? And that's success for me. I'd say this as a closing note is that half of my friends that have ended up with all the money on the planet are the least happy people I know. So if I measure success in what they did, I know they're miserable. And I don't want all the money in the world. If I'm miserable, I'd rather be happy and broke. And
Absolutely.
That's success. So, I mean, I don't know.
And what a way to close.
Sorry, I hope that's not TMI.
And in closing, my interview. We have another half an hour. No, I'm kidding. That's funny. But this was a very powerful session. I'm grateful to have you here, have you as a friend.
Always,
and
brother.
for you all to be here. And I hope you take a lot of this and run with it, make it your own. And we'll see more of Travis, your mentor here in Masters Academy. And
thanks so much, my dude.
Amazing, my man.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
And I'm so blessed to be your friend, man, and so proud of you. You crush it. You're such inspiration to all of us. Thank you.
It's the haircut.
It's Brad.
See you guys. Thanks for tuning in to Hair Hero. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a 5-star review. It helps us reach more listeners just like you. And don't forget to screenshot this episode and share it on Instagram, tagging us at Masters of Balayage. We'd love to see your posts and share them. Until next time, remember, be bold, be brave, be you. See you in the next episode.